Light. Greetings, welcome to our dark HappyBasins jungle room. Larry's going to turn our lights on as we get started because we turned all of the lights off really early tonight so that the animals would wake up so I can show you guys what it's like to interact with them when they're wide awake and hunting. And we have quite a few up, so yay. I'm super excited to get to show you guys the things we do to tame. I use the word tame because it was short and easy to use, but really what I mean is to get to build trust and get to know our emeralds and have them used to us being around. So it is definitely going to be a fun episode because of the way that we're going to get to interact with the animals. So let's get our technology up and running here so that I can see everybody. Make sure things are turned down. And we are going to get to meet the animals today. We've met most of the animals, and I don't know which ones we're going to look at. It'll depend on who's most awake, but we can definitely have a look at everybody. I see Cassius Clay is completely down hunting. Zoltus is just sitting here watching me. I'll open his door. And then Gishada's up. Isis has been up. As soon as we turned the lights off, she went right down and started hunting. She's been hunting like crazy, and she's going to be part of my update. I'm going to give you guys an update here in a few minutes. Is anybody able to tell me if you can hear me fine? And I can also turn this up for a second and see if I, yep, that's us. We have volume. So that is very good. Hello, Baloo. Thank you for coming. He says hello to you too, sweetie.
Hello.
All right, so Larry's been turning the fluvels on. We have fluval lights in here. They get completely run by an app on the phone. So it makes it super easy. Although it does have some cons to it, we love fluval. And when I get back from my trip coming up to Brazil, I am going to show you guys our different technology. I am pretty sure that what I'm going to do is make little review videos for the different things we use, because everything we have in here we love. We've been using for a long time. We tried many different things when we first started doing this. So we have a good pool of things that we didn't want to keep using, and then we have the things in here that we really love. And some of the stuff even has like newer versions, but we're so happy with it. We, seems fine with us. So we're keeping some of our things that are actually, you can say outdated, but not really. But some of them you can't buy anymore. Anyway, I'll be telling you guys all that when we do our reviews on the different technologies and things we use. Now, I did have some updates to give you guys, and we'll start with a little Peo. So some of you know, if you saw the Facebook post, that Peo pooped. That was our, well, we have one more milestone, but that was our last milestone to, good health and everything's running properly. He's had 3 meals, still the same 3 meals as before. We have not fed him in about 14 days, and we're letting him get extra hungry, and we do have a nice warm fresh meal to offer him tonight. So we're really hoping that he takes it completely on his own. And also he's shed 2 times. So he had his first shed, and then he shed again on November 15th, the same night that we went to go watch the big fight at our friend's house. And the whole time, everybody knows how on that fight, if you watched it or know anything about it, Netflix kept going out. And everybody at the house kept saying, don't look at your phone, quit looking at your phone, because they didn't want anybody to see what was going on the fight being updated on Facebook before we actually got to see it. But I was on my phone all night long because I was actually watching Peo shed from his camera. So I had an excuse to be on my phone. Okay, yes, I did check Facebook for the fight updates, but I didn't tell anybody. Now they know. Well, you guys, let's see. We have some more updates. Isis, who is over there hunting, she looks absolutely beautiful. We're going to go over there and have a look at her here in a little bit. You guys have seen a lot of Isis on my videos. She's just a magnificent creature. So, and the way she looks right this second, I can't even quit looking at her. She's so beautiful and big. You know, after she didn't eat for 8.5 months, she got so thin and we were so afraid she wasn't going to eat. And then she's just been eating like crazy. We've been overfeeding her because she's hunting every single night. And there's another reason we've been overfeeding her, which I'm going to tell you for the next update. But she is super active, super interactive with us, totally back to her old self. I can still see a little bit of her ribs, but her belly is just so fat. She's been digesting everything, and she looks like she may even be going into another shed. So we're really grateful that Isis is so strong and healthy and bounced back the way she did. Absolutely a magnificent creature. I can't wait for you guys to see her tonight. I hope she's very interactive. And then I have another update on Jormungandr, who we'll talk about it again when we go look at Jormungandr. But since Jormungandr had what we are pretty sure is a post-ovulation shed, she had her post-ovulation shed, I want to say November 3rd, somewhere very close to that. I'm pretty sure it was November 3rd. And just 3 weeks before that, she had gone into a full, huge ovulation. So then for her to have the ovulation shed 3 weeks later, and she will not take food. She has rejected every meal that we've offered her since her post-ovulation shed. And for those of you who don't know, a post-ovulation shed is what's considered the very first day of a snake being pregnant. And you just have to go along the time frame from the ovulation to the shed, and then from the day of the shed you start counting, and it's usually between 130 to 180 is pretty high, but most people post in the 140s range, about 140 something days, and will start to really know if Jormungandr is pregnant. So that's very exciting news. Cassius Clay, the same father of Peo, is the same one who very highly likely impregnated Jormungandr, as well as possibly Ningishzida, but Ningishzida has not shown any signs of ovulation. So we may just let Cassius Clay go back in there with her again tonight. We've been overfeeding Ningishzida too, because if you don't know, we very recently found out that Jormungandr and Ningishzida were females. So they'd been fed, they're 5 years old, and for the last 2 years, they should have been eating medium-sized meals as females, but they were being fed smaller meals because we thought they were males. So now we're just trying to get them a little fattened up in case they do end up pregnant. We did get the opportunity to feed Jormungandr multiple medium-sized meals before she was with Cassius Clay. And Cassius Clay is our tester. He can tell us right away if another emerald is a male or a female, because as you may know, he just attacks the males. You can't even carry him away. He keeps trying to get back to attack the males, and he's very romantic with the females. His tail just starts swishing around them right away. So he's a great stud. We have our little snake Rico Suave upstairs, who is next on my update list. And Rico Suave would have actually been the perfect name for Cassius Clay. Rico Suave, what was Rico Suave again? Like, not the song, but the real person. Was it a fighter?
Wrestler.
Oh, wrestler. So the Rico Suave is a wrestler, but I think it's more popular with the song Rico Suave, which is about a gigolo. So Cassius Clay would have been good for that name, but who knows with Rico Suave. So before I give you guys the Rico Suave update, let me just have a look here. We have So many people. Thank you all for coming. Tara, thank you. Thanks for hanging out in the room with us on your drive home. And Tara, wow, the build that you and Ted did for your animals is incredible for your little gecko or bearded dragon. I'm so sorry. I know it wasn't for Sweeney. It was for one of the other ones. You'll have to tell me. When you get home, you can text it, unless you're using your hands-free voice text. Saran, it's so good to have you. Hello, Saran. Saran says, I'm so happy that Peo had a second shed and that Isis is doing well. Thank you very much, Saran. Hi, Erica. Hello, Snake family. I'm so glad you guys are all here. I know, Saran, I knew you meant second when I started reading it because you put the 3ND. So it was easy to tell that's what you meant. Oh, that's right. Tara built, her and her fella Ted built a big, huge, beautiful, full of plants and all kinds of enrichment for her. It is a dwarf retic. And if you guys don't know what a reticulated python is, they're humongous. Maybe those ones that are in the Everglades, I'm not sure, but reticulated pythons, I think, are like the biggest snake in the world. And hers is a dwarf, so hers won't get so huge, but I know he's going to just enjoy the space that they've created. Reynaldo! Woohoo! Reynaldo! Do you see what I'm wearing? You guys, Reynaldo is my very good friend who I've been in Peru with 3 times. And we also traveled Colombia, Brazil, and Peru together twice. So we have spent a lot of time together. And the very first time we were in Peru together, we found this exact emerald tree boa. And one of the fellows with us was a photographer. And he took some beautiful photos, and Reynaldo took one of those photos and had this shirt hand painted for me. And I just was upstairs when I was getting dressed for this show tonight, and this shirt was hanging right there front and center, and I was so proud to get to put it on. And now Reynaldo's here to see his beautiful gift right here on me. Thank you, Reynaldo. I love you, Reynaldo. Timmy, thank you for coming, Timmy. And Nan, hello, Nan. We always love you being here. You've been such a wonderful, great support to us, and we appreciate you so very much. Thank you. And Eric, nice to have all of you guys here. And also, not on messages, but my nephew, Chris Gillard, watches from Tucson, and we have a lot in common. Chris and I both do room tours. Chris does his room tours on his game action figures, as well as the art that he creates. He's a fantastic artist. So he actually gives room tours to people in his house in Tucson. So Chris Gillard, thank you so much for your love and support. He watches all of our HappyBasins episodes, but he has let me know that he doesn't like to subscribe and he doesn't like to hit like, but he watches everything. And I know that's actually true for lots of people because every time we go out, everywhere we go, the store, the chiropractor, the doctor's office, the bank, the pharmacy, everywhere we go, everybody mentions things from these videos. So that's super exciting. We even had one of our bank ladies mentioned Larry's relationship with Hansel. So it's been really amazing seeing the community come together over snakes, which I hear constantly. I don't even like snakes, but your emeralds are so beautiful. So I just love that. Thank you guys. Erica's telling us about reticulated pythons, and they are the longest. Anacondas are the heaviest, and Burmese are maybe the 3rd longest, and the ones in the Everglades. So thank you, Erica. Thank you very much. And I always know that when I do have a question or say something, I can ask, and you guys are so great about answering. I really appreciate that. And Saran says that super dwarf retics are not much bigger than my emeralds that we have here. So that's some great information. Thank you guys. I always appreciate your feedback. And Baloo, I'm always so grateful when you are here with us. And if you guys see the name Johan on our feed on either YouTube or Facebook, It's really funny because I told him I was going to call him Baloo, like from the Jungle Book. And he said, that's crazy. That's my name. That was my name at camp. So I just love to get to call him Baloo. And every time I do, of course, I'm singing bare necessities. So thank you guys all for being here. All right, let's see what's next on our list. Oh, yes, Rico Suave. So you guys have not seen much of them. They're still upstairs in quarantine, and we may be moving them down when I get back from Brazil. They're doing fantastic. Rico Suave and Mami Wada are two just the same as these, the Basin Emerald tree boas that we took in from a fella who had been traveling back and forth from Colorado to Florida over and over again. And that was because his house was destroyed in a previous hurricane some years ago, and he'd just been trying to work it, get everything back together. And while he was doing that over the past years, he moved Rico Suave and Mami Wada multiple times. They were just traveling in the car back and forth with him. And they had a really difficult time with shedding. Mami Wada had quit eating, but before he got her back to us, he had put her on some antibiotics and got her eating. So she's eating really good. She's actually in shed right now. She's completely white, so she'll clear up and hopefully shed in the next maybe 5 or 6 days. Rico Suave, on the other hand, if you guys have been keeping up with him, he is nothing but skin and bones. It's just heartbreaking. He hadn't eaten in a very, very long time. The fella who we got him from said he didn't even know when was the last time Rico Suave ate. So we did a round of the Flagyl antibiotics on Rico Suave for no reason except for that it has been known to stimulate appetite. So we did that. He has taken 3 meals, but all assist fed. We just use a much smaller meal than what he would typically take. And Larry, I wanted to do it on a live feed, but Larry says that he wants to not assist him for a long time and see if he'll take some food. So we'll be doing that at the end of the week before I leave. But he did take 3 assisted meals. He's digested everything. He's been going into the rain chamber. You guys may have seen that video the other night on Facebook. And you know, the very first time we put Rico Suave and Mami Wada in the rain chamber, it was really hard to not just take them out because they were extremely stressed out, trying to get out, moving around too much. But then after, 10 minutes, that went on for about 10 minutes. And then they both settled down and just started drinking and enjoying. And now they've been in about a half a dozen times. And when we just get close to the rain chamber with them, they start going in there just like these animals do. So they love the warm water. They drink and drink and drink. It's just beautiful to watch them hydrating like that. I think that the hydration is super important, and I believe that the rain stimulates them to want to drink. So Rico Suave is doing great. He's just going to keep improving. I feel like with Peo and Rico Suave eating only with our assistance, at least they're eating. They have nutrition in their bellies. They're digesting it. So I know that there will be a day soon that they will take their own food. Erica wants a nickname. We'll have to think of a good nickname, Erica. That'll be fun to think of. We are going to look at the animals, like I told you tonight. Just one more quick little at my notes here. All right, so before we get started interacting with the emeralds, I wanted to tell you guys why we have emerald tree boas and not any other species. I mean, we do have our rescues upstairs. We have our little Serape, our Aztec California king snake, and Hundo Lane, our Pueblan milk snake. So we do have 2 other snakes in the house, but we chose these emeralds. These were our choice of snakes. The reason is when we decided we were going to get a snake, Larry had never touched a snake in his life. I had previous experience from snakes, but not for almost 30 years. I hadn't had a snake in my hands since my daughter was about 5 years old, and she's in her 30s now. So we, neither of us had snake experience. And my snake experience was owning a snake, giving it water and food, and letting it roam free in my house, because I just always did let my snakes roam free. It's always been a thing with me. And I learned very early on that snakes could be potty trained if you put a heat pad under a big pan of water, that they will poop inside of that warm water all the time. So even back when I was a young girl, I'm still young, 50, I'm almost 52, and I'm just as young as I could be. And, but back then my experience was just not like real. I didn't really know what I was doing or anything. So this is both of our first real experience properly taking care of animals. So we chose the emeralds because I had a desire for a snake. Some of you know where that desire came from. That's not part of tonight's talk. And I wanted, believe it or not, false water cobras. For those of you who don't know what false water cobras are, from what I've seen online, I've never seen one in person, but I was looking for the most handleable interactive snake. And I just kept seeing all of these videos, and I joined a Facebook group, and people would set plates of food out, and the snake would choose different shrimp and, like different meats, chicken, beef. So I thought it was probably not beef, super interesting that those animals were so interactive and smart. They were known to be extremely intelligent, or are known to be extremely intelligent. They are venomous, but only in the back of their fangs. So in order for the venom to even get to you, which it's not likely to even bother a person much more than an insect sting that's poisonous. I'm hesitating because I don't know if insect stings are considered poisonous. Is that what somebody's going to tell me? But they have back-fanged venom, a light amount. And in order for that to get on you, they have to like really chew, not just a bite. So I was dead set to get these false water cobras, and they really do look like cobras. They have that big, beautiful face with the little vent that hoods out, and big scales and big eyes, and they're super smart, venomous insects. So the bite from the false water cobra, if his back fangs get on you, is about as bad as a venomous insect and can affect some people more than others. For those of you who watched our episode with Bob Bledsoe last September, he did get bit by September before last, he got bit by a back-fanged venomous vine snake. And he did a whole bit like he was going to die, but of course there was no reaction at all. It was fun. Larry said about the false water cobras that he wanted to do more research, and he wanted to choose a snake who had a face that he could love. And back then he had said about the false water cobras that they had a face only a mother could love. But since now he knows more about snakes, and he sees the impressiveness of the king cobra, and they do have a resemblance to the king cobra's look. So he's more impressed with their looks these days. But I'm super grateful he wasn't back then, because he is the one who came up with these basins. Well, of course, once I wanted a pair of snakes, not just one, but I wanted a pair. And when I saw the price on these snakes and how difficult they were to get, we just kept doing research, even asking, putting emails out and asking in Facebook groups. And they're practically impossible to find one. And if you do, you have to cut off your right arm to buy it. So we finally ended up with one. Well, I just wanted a pair of northerns, because you could buy a pair of northerns for like, $1,500, or, maybe $1,000 for each snake, which is still a lot for an animal, but people spend lots and lots of money on dogs and cats. We just wanted these animals. Larry said no northern, which, if you guys don't know, a northern is practically the same species. They were separated back in the 70s as two separate species. They're very, very similar. So when we ended up with one of these, we found somebody sent me a message when I was looking in the groups and said, there's one on Morph Market. There are two on Morph Market. I got one. And if you hurry up, you can get the other one. So we got the other one, and that was our little Asmois, who's no longer little at all. He's humongous. I won't get into all of the sex, but we adopted Asmois as a female. Turns out he's a male. And it turns out also that other fella who bought the second one that was with Asmois off Morph Market, took him to New Jersey, and years later ended up selling him. And Larry and I drove all the way to New Jersey to get him. Well, he is Jormungandr, who's pregnant right now. So I think the fella who shipped those two out just got the sexes mixed up and sent the other guy the female and me the male. Don't ask me who it was, because I'm not going to say. I have a lot of respect for the fella, and that could, it's really difficult to sex baby arboreals. And I know that because my friend Gary Schiavano told me that sexing baby arboreals is extremely difficult, and that he doesn't even like to say the sex when he parts with such a small baby. So it's just a thing that happens. Just back to the venomous real quick. Erica says that venom is injected and poison is ingested. So those insects are venomous. And yes, I totally know that about, these snakes are venomous. But another thing I learned, just kind of off the subject, Larry told me stick to the subject, no more tangents. So this will just be one little quickie. The thing between saying venomous and poisonous, people are constantly correcting everybody on Facebook, like that's a snake is venomous, not poisonous. Well, I learned that, I looked it all up and read everything, and venom is a subset of poison. So just like a square is a subset of a rectangle, all venomous snakes are poisonous, but not, or all venom is poison, but not all poison is venom. So that was an interesting little fact. All right, you guys, I think we're about ready. So now you know it's Larry's full responsibility why we have the emeralds, and he's very proud of that fact, and he should be, because they are spectacular animals all around. All right, here we go, you guys. Hello, Curtis. Curtis Powell. Holy smokes, you think that's your brother watching? I do actually have another Facebook friend named Curtis Powell, but that is also Larry's brother's name, so we do not know. And then Anamaka. Look, I'm wearing Reynaldo's shirt. Did you see the shirt Reynaldo got for me? Anamaka she studies arachnids, and she was in Peru the same time she was with us the night we found this animal. And the whole group was with Anamaka looking for tarantulas. And they were all down with sticks pulling, like trying to lure the tarantulas out of the hole so that they could photograph them. And, the whole time I'm off of the group, always with my flashlight, looking and praying and begging that I can find an emerald, and I found one. So Anamaka was there, and that was incredible. And she says that venomous is when it bites you or stings you, and poison is when you eat it. So yes, the same thing that Erica said. Also, Anamaka, I have so many videos I actually made for you when I was in Colombia. I did the tarantula luring thing. There were so many tarantulas there, and I probably took 10 videos of me doing it. And everybody was getting excited when they would see a hole, ask me to come over and do what I learned from you. So thank you, Anamaka. You have added great things to my experiences being out there in the jungle because of what I learned from you. All right, you guys, are we ready to get rolling here? Larry's going to pick up the video camera, and we're going to go around. I'm going to talk about different things that we do to start with. And I'm going to go around and just kind of start doing things, touching them a little bit, and explaining what I'm doing and why. And how did I come up with all this? We just did it. I wanted to interact with my animals. And even though these animals are known to be hands off, don't touch them, I did it anyway. And it's worked out for me. So far, we have had fantastic experiences with these guys. All right, so first off, right here, you see Zoltus. And Zaltis is Isis's brother. And we actually have adopted another of Isis's brothers, and his name's going to be Inky. They are 7 years old, and they were our second snakes. Zaltis and Isis were our, well, second and third, but we got them, you know, together at the same time. So when I got Zaltis and Isis, they were 3 years old and had never been handled ever. So it was really amazing to see how quickly they took to being handled. When we come in here to do maintenance on these animals, we always do it at nighttime. Anytime we have to clean, change water bowls, or do anything, we do it at nighttime because they're awake and we want them to see us and get used to us moving around and just feel like we're normal being around them, which they really, really do. And so you guys have, if you've seen any of my vine episodes, then you know that our water bowls are embedded right into our vines. So we just come in here and we take the water bowls out. If I'm going to clean the walls, I'll do it with the animals in there. And I'm not really cleaning, I'm just mock cleaning. And just kind of move around. You can see that Zaltis looks just a little unsure about what's going on. And I might touch different things and just kind of have my hands around in here a bit. I don't really have to do this anymore because the animals are very, very used to me. So now I am going to pet Zaltis. Now, when we come in here and do things to their enclosures, we always try to touch them. And you would be really surprised that how I'm touching him. I am actually giving him a little spine massage, just like I do to Jaja. If you guys have seen what I do to Jaja, I do the same thing to these animals. You're a good boy, Zaltis. And I'm just kind of putting his head down a little bit so he knows it's not food time. He's making a little noise. Nothing major. And so if your animal doesn't want, if somebody wants to touch their emeralds, a lot of people do not touch their emeralds. But I feel like it's getting more and more normal. I don't want to put my hand right in front of the camera. But you guys can see I just kind of massage them a little. Just a little bit of, not rough, but not real soft. Yes, you're such a good boy. And he's looking at my hand, which is fine, but I'm still going to be careful. I just want him to know it's me here. It's just me. And another thing about these animals is that they love their tails rubbed. So like right here, you can see where I have my fingers on Zaltis near the end of his tail here. And he's just pulling it right out for me. I am not putting any pressure on that tail except just petting it. So they will offer you their tail if you pet it. They really, really like that. And it just like kind of emulates what they do to each other when they're breeding. And that's how I actually came up with this method, was by watching them breed. So, and if I wanted to take him out, now that I have his tail right here, and he would wrap onto my finger, and it makes it real easy to get them out, which I'm not doing that tonight. But you guys have seen me take him out many times. And I'm still just rubbing his tail here. So, and he really likes that. He really does. He could wrap his tail up real tight right now if he wanted to, but he likes it when I touch it. And so you can see I just kind of do things like that. And they do get used to being touched and handled. When we come in this room to do stuff, these animals come out to the glass to see what we're doing. They're extremely curious about us. They're extremely curious about everything. They love to see what's going on when they feel safe and secure. When we first got our little Azzy, he would sleep with his head hidden and tucked all the time. I actually need a little chair. So Ninji, another thing is when they're inside of their habitats like this, they're much more likely to strike at you than they are once you already have them out. So when they're still in their enclosures, I do like to really make sure they know I'm coming. And what I was about to say before I said that is Ninji is one, she's never bit anybody, but she has struck before. But I think it's just because of her thinking that she's going to get fed. But besides Isis, she's the only emerald in this room who's ever struck at anybody. And, you know, when I'm in the wild, I used to say, oh, I could tell the sex by just how their personality is. And I say the females are more temperamental, where the males are extremely docile. And it turns out, yes, you're doing a good job, Ninji. You're a good girl. Ninji was also adopted as a male and turned out to be a female. And she's showing her female temperament now that she's getting a little bit older. But usually the strike will only come like at the initial entry here. And you can see she also allows me to rub her tail. You guys, these animals get very coiled up very, very tightly when they don't want to be touched. And Ninji is doing perfectly fine with that right now. Can you see where I'm rubbing her? You guys, I rub my emeralds hard, like a massage, like a little deep tissue spine massage, the same as I do to Jaja upstairs. And they respond really well to it. And when we get to the end of this video, I'm going to tell you about how we do this with wild emeralds. The first 2 emeralds that I ever had in the wild, I was told I had to hold their head real tight. Don't let it go because it will bite you. And that was it. And now I've held 23 more emeralds after that from the wild and have never, ever touched their heads except under their chin to rub them or to kiss them because sometimes it's hard not to. And once to remove a 2-inch thorn embedded 3/4 of an inch in a huge wild emerald's mouth. I mean, top of her head. So I do not touch their heads in the wild. And I rub them hard like this, and they really respond well to the hard rubbing. If I touch them real soft, it seems to confuse them and they kind of get jumpy. But when I rub them hard like this, it seems to really soothe them. And, you know, there are times when one of the animals doesn't want to be touched. And in that case, they wind up in a little coil and put their heads in the middle of their body. And then I leave them alone. But these emeralds very rarely do not want to be touched. They're extremely curious. Good job, Ninji. Yes, you're such a good ambassador. Yes, you are. You're a good baby. Yes. And, you know, I could leave my hand right there. She is not going to do anything to me. Larry does it and Allison both do it. But I'm just a jumpy person. So, like I always say, that's why I don't drive. Okay, so now, and again, I'll just say once more that if I did want to take Ninji out right now, he would come right out. I would just simply pick him up and take him out. So they are extremely handleable. And when they're hunting like this, you guys, just because they have their neck in an S shape does not mean they're looking to strike. I wanted to talk about body language. This is a perfect time. Can you really show how Ninji's head is resting on that vine? Like maybe this angle over here. Well, she just moved it up. But she had her chin completely resting on the vine. So even though she's in an S shape, her body language is extremely relaxed. And especially like when their tail, when I'm rubbing their tail and it's unwound like that, an unwound tail is an unwound tail is a real telltale that they are relaxed and not looking to strike at you. So don't think that just because your emerald is in this position that they're going to strike you, but it is a good time to be cautious because that is what they look like when they are going to strike. Let's go down here and look at Bella. Good job, Ningishsida. And I didn't even mention Ningishsida's beautiful long snout. If you guys got to look at that when Larry was close up to her. It's hard to remember all these sex changes in our, not changes, but discoveries. All of our emerald sex discoveries. I don't know. It doesn't matter how I say that. It doesn't sound right. All right. So this is Bella. Bella the fella. Bella was adopted as a female, turned out to be a male. We have 4 of those such cases in our emerald room. Bella really likes to sleep down low. Even like right after he eats, he just likes to sleep down here. He does go up top when he's hunting at night. He goes up and down this thing, but in the morning, he's always down there. At first, when he was doing it, I would move him back to the top, but I don't do that anymore. But if I have a female who might be pregnant who's doing that, you can believe that we will make sure she stays by the heat. Right, Yarmungandr? Because we learned our lesson with Isis, for sure. All right, let's look at Bella. Bella was a rescue. Our friend and mentor, Steve Volk, actually took in this animal from another breeder who was the one who had sexed the animal as a female. But Steve Volk took the animal in and was feeding him by a big, I always talk about this thing and I never have it out with me, but it's like a really nice long syringe with a soft round ball that's very, the word isn't amicable, but a word that goes down their throat very smooth and easy, and then you inject some prescription animal food, like prescription cat food, which is what Bella got, or people put their frozen meals into a blender and grind it up and put it in there. And that's what Bella needed. She also got other special meals as she graduated to eating better on her own. And, oh, sorry. It's okay. She's okay. He's okay. Like I say, you guys, I'm jumpy. Larry and Allison never jump. They just let the animals come right at them, and they just put their nose on you and stop. They don't even bite when they do that. Now everybody's probably waiting like, she's going to get bit. But so far it's never happened except one time when Isis bit me, but that was a whole nother situation. So Bella took the longest of all of our emeralds to become handleable. He has been very skittish, but has never bit anybody. So I'm just showing you guys, and he's a good example because this is probably more like other people's snakes would be, not like how Ningishsida and Zoltus acted, but probably a little more like this. But now you guys can see I'm petting Bella very hard. I'm really giving them that little spine massage that they like, a nice firm little spine massage. And his little S-shaped neck there is resting on the vine. He's not tense. He seems to be enjoying it. And it's really funny about Bella. He's extremely flighty. When you're holding him, he keeps moving and moving and moving. But the craziest thing is, sounds crazy, I know, but we have many examples, real life examples, that Bella loves children. Bella is fascinated by children. And some of you saw the video. It was a misunderstood video. I felt really bad because I took one of my long videos off Facebook when a family was over here holding all the snakes, and the grandpa was holding 6 of these emeralds, and Bella was one of them. And Bella reached out because she just wanted to investigate the little 4-year-old little girl, that the granddaughter. And when I made the short, I had to cut a horizontal to a vertical, and the only part in the shot is Bella coming out toward that little girl. And to me, when I saw that video, it was a precious moment. But when I posted it, it turned out that, well, it got like tens of thousands of views on Instagram because everybody was making comments about how terrible that snake coming at that kid's face, and and it just wasn't like that at all. So I'd be much more careful about the pieces that I post, because I don't want people to think that's what's going on in our jungle room. But you guys can see how Bella calmed down after I started giving him his little massage. I've got my thumb right here, like pressing hard. Are you able to capture my petting her the whole time? I've got my thumb pressing hard on her little body, and then I'm using my other fingers to just rub her. And she likes it. You guys, when these animals don't like it, they leave. They are very fast. They will turn around and slither away, or more likely, they will coil up and hide their head. The fact that these guys are just sitting here with their faces looking at us and their bodies just resting on the vines really says that they are relaxed. And that's where we get the name HappyBasins. If you look up the word happy in the dictionary, it means a relaxed and content demeanor. And that's exactly what these animals have. So that's how we do it. That's the way we do it. Or that's the song is that's the way we like it. Here, I'll need that chair. Thank you. All right, you guys, this is Jormungandr. This is the one we think is pregnant. She has not eaten. She has not slept in a cinnamon roll. So even though if she is pregnant, it's right at the very, very beginning, she still is not sleeping normal. She's staying really spread out. She has stayed up there by her heat the entire time so far. I mean, it's only been a month, right? No, not a month. It's only been a couple weeks since she had her ovulation shed. So we're not looking for any pregnancy signs yet, but the fact that she won't eat is a big deal because all of these emeralds are extremely good eaters. But right now, Cassius Clay is not eating, but that's because he's in breeding mode. Hi, sweetheart. And you guys, when Isis was pregnant, we were very, very careful not to touch her, but we didn't do a good job with her heat. So we know that touching Isis didn't affect her, and we have decided that with Jormungandr, we're going to make sure she stays in the heat, but we are not going to deprive her of her rain showers, which she's the one who loves the rain showers. If you guys remember the story, when she escaped and slithered under the door of this room, down the hallway, into the other room, and I found her in the rain chamber. I'd never had a snake slither under the door. It was crazy. It was maddening, really. I couldn't believe it. But she is going to get all of her regular love and rain showers, just like she always has. And that was one of the things with Isis, is that we quit giving her massages. I don't massage these snakes aggressively like I did when Isis was having her babies. That was a very special situation. I was on a mission to get them out. If you don't know that story, it's a long story. But we do talk about it a lot on here. But this one is going to get the full attention and rain showers just like she's used to. And we're just going to make sure she stays nice and warm, because Isis had troubles because we let her choose her temperatures. And it turns out that mama snakes don't always know the best temperature. So this sweet, beautiful little thing. And she is a little small for a female of 5 years old. But she's not so small that she can't breed. We did get some opinions on that. And she's just small, like I said earlier, because for 3 years, or I'm sorry, for the last 2 years, at the age of 3, they're supposed to start eating medium meals, and she's 5. So the last 2 years, she's had smaller meals than she should have. But she's perfectly healthy, extremely active, extremely friendly, and always ready to go in the rain chamber. She's probably sitting here right now thinking, oh God, am I going to get to go in the rain chamber? Because that's how she is. And once you put her in there, the other animals, when they get done doing their business in there and drink some water, they try to come out. They want to come out, but not Jormungandr. Jormungandr never, ever, ever tries to come out of that rain chamber. She loves it. Well, you guys, it's such a shame that Isis was all spread out and hunting. I took too long to get over here, but you guys have seen Isis that way many times. Are you going to sit in that chair, love? So, when the lights come on, they do try to go back to sleep. Sweetheart, you've been eating so much food. Another reason I had said that I was going to tell you why we've been overfeeding Isis, besides just the fact that she wants all that extra food, also, like I said, so she's going to show me she's not into this right now. She might hide her head, and that would be more the camera than me. But she's all right. She's coming back out. She's not quite sure that she wants to go in. Something special might happen. She might get to go in the rain chamber. She might get a meal, or maybe she just wants this love. She looked for 1 second like she might hide her head. But you guys can see how I'm rubbing her muscles. I have found that the emeralds love these little massages. And I promise to tell you guys how we tame the emeralds in the wild. If you guys have seen me, I kiss wild emeralds on the mouth and they love me back. I've even had one say thank you to me when I took that thorn out of her head. And, I use wild emeralds as ambassadors, and I'm even able to let children handle them because their body language is so distinct. You can see when an emerald gets tense or starts feeling like it doesn't want to be held. Their whole body language changes. The way that, look at Isis's tail right now. See how just the tip of her tail is wrapped around that? She's very relaxed, because if she wasn't, she would wrap much more of her tail. She does not feel threatened or anything right now. Not to mention the fact that when Isis doesn't want to be touched, she will huff and puff. It sounds like hissing, but it's more like kind of like a horse almost. But when I get them in the wild, if you've ever seen how I do it, I just keep rubbing their belly and their tail, and then I start giving them this little spine massage, and they respond very, very well to it. They relax. You can tell that they instantly feel secure. And the reason I rub them this hard and the way I rub them is because that's what I watch them do to each other when they're breeding. So I find that when I emulate the breeding activity, like the way they touch each other, I get a really good response from the animals. And you guys might be able to see I'm putting a little pressure on there. I've got my lower fingers under and the thumb up top and my index finger, and I'm just massaging her. And this is exactly how I massage Jaja. And if you guys have seen that iguana that we have upstairs, she is the most friendly thing. My girlfriend was here this morning saying, I just try to explain to my husband how Jaja is just like a canine. She acts like one. She comes to you. She loves to be pet. She said her husband just can't wrap his brain around it. So maybe Calvin will come one day. Now, you guys also saw Isis is very, very slow tongue flicking right now. That when when they flick their tongue like that and leave it out for a long time, they are feeling very comfortable. And sometimes they'll even just leave it hanging out. So those tongue flicks are another sign of their body language. So the tail wrapping, hiding the head, trying to slither away, those are all things that can let you know whether or not your animal feels like being touched. And, Larry used to laugh at me when we first started this because I would say, I will love you till you like it. And, sometimes it just takes them a little while to get used to it because these animals are not accustomed to being touched. So it just takes some time for them to get used to how it feels and get used to having your presence near them. So don't give up on them just because they act wild at first. I mean, look how Rico Suave and Mommy Wada acted in that rain chamber. They acted like their death was on them, like they were being tortured. And then all of a sudden they relaxed, and now they are so eager to get in that rain chamber. So sometimes something might stress them out until they realize that they like it. All right, let's go see who else we can find. Sweet girl. What is it wet?
Mm.
Just shiny?
Spitting.
You're just shiny?
Noodle pops.
Oh my God. Wait, let me just pet her real quick because Isis also likes to, and they all do. They like that rubbing under their chin. And I don't have a good angle right now, but sometimes they'll really push down when you do this to their chin. There, she's doing it right now. She's pushing down on my finger. So, is that enough? Did you have enough? Now, you guys, Isis is the only animal who's ever bit me. This was a few years ago. She was already over 6 feet long at that time. We don't even know how long she is now. And she was up on the vines hunting. And I had my phone videoing, and she came down and bit me on my neck and my face. The whole big, huge, the hardest bite you could get. It was a total full-on feeding response bite. And I thought one of the upper vines scratched me. I had a bruise and stuff, but the whole thing was gone in 5 days. You couldn't even tell it happened. Unlike a cat scratch. Cat scratch will give you fever. You don't believe me? Listen to the song. All right, let's see who else we have over here. I'm going to go behind you. Oh, I need my chair to stand on. All right, so where's Cash? Oh, Cash was awake. Now he's asleep. And I'll just show you guys Azzy real quick here. Azzy. And you can see Azzy's still sleeping here. So I'm just giving him a little pet. So when they're sleeping, you can just give them some rubs. The whole thing is just getting them used to you touching them. You guys have all seen me get these animals out, put them in the rain chamber, do all kinds of stuff with them, but I've never showed you just petting. And when you're just petting them, it's just a nice way to get them used to being touched. And many emeralds won't even let you open their door because, as a matter of fact, when we got Zaltis and Isis, we were told never open their door at night because they will light you up. Well, we only do it at night because that's when they're awake and curious and wondering what's going on. And we just were careful at first until they got used to us opening their door for reasons other than giving them food. So the whole thing for us is just normalizing our presence to them. All right, let's move on to Cash. Since Azzy's sleeping, since Azzy's sleeping, that was a really good example to show you guys, just petting a sleeping snake. It helps for socialization if you're into that. All right, so this is the famous Cassius Clay, the checker. He's the one who tells us if our other animals are male or female, and he's the one who keeps creating new animals in our jungle room. Bella is a really good breeder, and Asmoa also is a good breeder, but Cassius Clay is the most dominant. He's the most beautiful, and he so far is the only one who has actually gotten someone pregnant. Even though Azzy has locked together with Isis for many months, they were together. Isis never got pregnant, but this little guy went in there for a short time and got her pregnant right away. And then, as you guys saw, highly likely got Jormungandr pregnant in no time flat. He's extremely social. If somebody says, oh, if you hold them, they won't breed, that's not true, because at least not in this case, because this animal right here is one of our best ambassadors. He's the sweetest and always easy to come out of here. Very often open his door and he comes right out, literally. And he's always looking for something. Like I said, he wants to get into the other enclosures. So I think I had been thinking about taking him down since he's not eating and putting him back in with an Ingishsita. So I think I might do that right now. So you guys can watch how I take him off here. And all I'm going to do, and Larry and I work together when we're trying to do it quickly, but right now I'm just going to do it by myself. And what we usually do is Larry gets the front end. That's all right, love. You just worry about the camera. And then I get their tails. And what I do with the tails, like I showed you guys, is I just start rubbing. And once you start rubbing their tails, they will offer you the tail, because that's just their instinct, is that when their tail is getting rubbed like that, they offer it. And that's how they do their mating. So I'm just going to pluck him right out of here. Just that easy. Oh, sorry. I did that. I let him get his tail back on, but it was barely wrapped. All right, so here is Cash. And, you know, if I would have taken more time, you guys, I did it pretty quick, but I could have taken more time. And what I would have done is pulled his head and just put it like on my shoulder. And once it's on my shoulder, he just comes right out. If he doesn't just come out anyway, because you see him looking at the vines up there, well, a lot of these guys will just come right out and get on those vines. And you're always a sweetheart. Do you want to go visit? Let's see if he wants to go visit Ninji. And they have spent some time together. So he's very familiar with her and very eager to get in there with her. He knows exactly where he's going and with whom. Cash loves the ladies, don't you, Cash? And you guys saw me massaging Isis when she was pregnant, but all of these emeralds, and I mean, I don't have experience with other snakes, but I bet a lot of snakes like this. So they will let you do this for as long as you will do it, especially in the rain chamber. Because like I said, to them, this is what it feels like when they're mating, and that's what they're made to do. That's what we're all made to do. So Cash started mating before he was 3. He was almost 3 years old. And he was just barely 1 year old when he started showing us his hemipenes in the shower. Oh, that's an update I didn't give you guys. And that's okay, because I am actually going to take baby Peo out tonight. We have really been excited about socializing baby Peo and creating hand-raised emeralds. What do you got going there, you sweet boy? Yeah, you're such a good little thing. Yes, you are. Now, he could strike right now, but because his tail is out straight, I feel pretty confident that he won't. They usually like to have their tails wound up. Wow, can you come over here? See if you can see what I see with my eyes. Look at all that blue and Cash. And you guys, that shadow of that camera's on it. He just shed. He just finished shedding. So that blue on his belly is, that's just his color. He has a beautiful turquoise color about him. He's looking at your camera. Oh, he's going to strike it. Are you going to strike that camera? Huh, sweet thing? Yes, you're a good boy. And I just kind of, when they look like they might strike, I kind of just push their head down a little bit just to tell them this is not a striking moment. And you guys, when they're in a hunting mode, like ready to eat, it's almost like a hypnotism. So touching them a little bit is just getting them out of their hunting mode. And if you have an animal, let me go grab something real quick and I'll show you. If you have an animal who absolutely does not want to be touched at all, then something that we used to do before we were more comfortable with them was to get a hook. And with the hook, I would just use it to, you know, like rub under their neck. And, you know, don't be afraid to use your hook, because you can wake them up out of their hunting mode. And again, just get them used to the touching feeling when you're with them, if that's something you want to do. Oh, he's beautiful. You're so beautiful. Look at, he's going to head up there now. Before this is over, he is going to be up there with mom, with Ningisida. All right. Let's see what Peyo's doing in here. I don't know, you guys, what should we do? He looks pretty comfortable. Oh, he woke up. Actually, before I do anything with Peyo, I'm just going to open his door and check and see what you guys are talking about over here. And then we'll look at our baby. William Blake. Good evening, William. Thank you for coming. Dara Dawson. Holy smokes. Talk about a blast from the past. Thank you. It's so good to see you here. Dara, you are an absolutely stunning person. You know, when we look at these animals and think about how beautiful they are, sweet and visually stunning. So Dara, it's so nice to see you. Brings back so many beautiful memories seeing your name there. Marvin, thank you for being here. Anamaka says she misses me. Thank you, Anamaka. I need to get those tarantula videos posted. Golly, you guys, I leave in just a couple days for my trip. Can you believe it? All right, let's see. I see something. People are talking about a hottie. We know who that is. Saran says, hi, Larry.
Hello, Saran.
And then Erica says, hi, Larry, aka super handsome camera guy. And Saran says, nah, Erica, he's hottie. Husband of the year. He's earned that title after the last year and everything he did for Isis and Peyo. That's right, Saran. He certainly has. And of course, I know that what Danita would say, and all he's done for Hansel. Erica says, I love that boas are such great eaters. I breed ball pythons too, and they are horrible sometimes. Well, I'm really glad that these guys are good eaters, because what we go through with Rico Suave upstairs not eating is heartbreaking. And then with Isis not eating through that pregnancy, to have animals that don't eat would be, it's very frustrating and sad. Even though snakes can go a year without eating, or months and months and months with no side effects, it's still really hard on the keeper. Yes, Erica, Cash is such a pretty boy. Oh, Erica's asking to take a peek at Peyo. I'm going to take him out here in just a minute. Oh, Tara says, oh my God, this is such a great live. Thank you. Tara's saying that because she wants to hear all of the names. She loves hearing all of the names. If some of you guys saw the video I posted with my neighbor, and he was holding, I think, 6 or 7 of the snakes, and I was showing off each snake's features, how we can tell them apart. I love that video. Thank you, Tara. Good. I'm glad that you're enjoying the handling information. Yes, because I'm always in here grabbing them out and messing with them and doing things with them, but I have never actually showed, like, how did we lead up to that point? Just normalizing our presence. All right, I do want to say one other thing. Sharon Elam. Oh my goodness, did you just get here, Sharon? Hi, Erin. Thanks for being here. Love, I'm sorry to ask you, but can you just put the camera back on Isis really quick, just in case Sharon missed her? You guys, Sharon is married to one of my best friends from 5th grade. We were just little kids and such good friends. And I've never met Sharon in person, but over these past years, she has fallen dead in love with Isis. Sharon Elam, this is for you. Isis, can you say hi, Sharon? Thank you for always loving me so much. And Sharon's one of those people who says, I have never liked snakes, but I am in love with Isis. Sharon, very nice. All right, you guys, let's go get baby Peyo. All right, Erica, this is for you. I think Erica would definitely be like me and many of us, I'm sure, with affection, aggression. This little baby, oh my God, he's so cute. His little tiny little self. And he's just great at being handled. He does everything he's supposed to do. It's not advisable to handle babies like this, but you know, a lot of the things we do here in the jungle room are experiments. A failed experiment is letting a pregnant mama choose her own temperatures. So sometimes you can do things and try things out and they work, and sometimes they don't. Unfortunately, that was didn't work out. But let's see, let's get this little thing right here. You guys, this baby is so, oh gosh, he's so tiny, but he's not as fragile as he seems. And I just give him a little petting, just kind of rubbing his little belly like the others. Is it too dark over here, love? Should we turn the...
If you give me a second, keep talking, and I'll get the flu.
All right, just keep it over here. I'm just going to get him out. Because he comes out really, really easy. You little tiny thing. You're just a little itty bitty little baby. Everybody loves you so much. You are a favorite. Yes, you're our little miracle baby. Trying to get him so you guys get a really good view. I posted, should I come over here? Because I did want to talk about something. Can I get back over here?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm just gonna kind of hold him while I tell you guys something. Peyo's doing so good. I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy looking at him. And if you wondered why I have a Band-Aid on my hand, it is because I was using the potato peeler on Jaja's zucchini, and I was getting the nicest, biggest chunks of zucchini I could, and one ended up being my finger and not the zucchini, so that's that wound. All right, now this little thing is going to keep getting a stripe. As they shed, their stripe gets more distinct, usually, and his so far has proven a lot over the past 2 sheds. So we expect more stripe as he progresses. And even though Peyo holds the record for emerald tree boa, for an emerald tree boa born alive, staying alive, even being born alive, out of a mother that was 192 days pregnant, which was 9 days longer than any other record emerald being born live. He's still small, underdeveloped, and that's because the temperatures were incorrect and the snakes did not develop the full time Isis was pregnant due to temperatures. So he is actually kind of more like a preemie than an overdue animal. So he's still growing. Peyo is so damn precious. I can't stand it. I can hardly stand it. That's what Erica says. Okay, so this is, while you guys are just watching this little baby be absolutely adorable, I am going to tell you what I was going to tell you about Jaja. You guys might know that Jaja, our green iguana upstairs, is our HappyBasins mascot. And the reason I chose Jaja to be our mascot is because I started, oh God, oh my God, you sweet, sweet little precious thing. Is because I started feeling like, you know, Jaja's very expressive. She can really tell us when she wants something. She can really express that she enjoys being massaged and loved on, and that she likes treats and she likes to go outside, and she has all the little things that she loves so much. And I thought, well, these emeralds come from the exact same trees that the iguanas come from. And they're both green and they hide. They're both solitary animals. They don't live in groups, they live alone. So the emeralds and the iguanas have so much in common. that I started thinking, I'm trying to decide if I want to go back and tell you why I started thinking this or tell you what I'm thinking first and then why. I started thinking that Jaja is a great expressive example of probably how these animals feel, because they don't have all of the little abilities to express things like Jaja does. So somebody told me on Facebook that, well, many people tell me on Facebook that these animals are not meant to be handled. But one person's reasoning was the fact that they blend into their habitat so well. Look at that baby wants to get up on those vines. Oh God, you're so precious. And they blend into their habitat so well, and they're solitary animals that they clearly do not want to be interacted with. Well, when they said that to me, that's when I started thinking, Jaja's from the same area. She's green. She blends in with the trees. She's a solitary animal, and she positively loves being pet and attention and patted and talked to and everything. So I thought that Jaja was just a great ambassador because she can really show exactly what an animal just like these guys, how they interact. And when we go look for the emeralds in the wild, there are many times we turn around and go make sure that it's an iguana, because you never know if it's an iguana or an emerald unless you very distinctly see the legs or the tail. But the underbelly is the same as the emerald, the color's the same. So we really see the similarities when we're in the wild between the emeralds and the iguanas. So Jaja made a perfect ambassador to show an example of these animals in the wild. I mean, these animals, how they act and respond to things. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you just got the camera adjusted. We don't have to. You can wait, but I was gonna put Peo by his little painting. We'll do that at the end, okay, if I remember. All right, let's see a couple of things let's see if I recovered or if I covered the things that I put on my notes here. I did talk about body language, about the tails being coiled up when they're feeling defensive. And it's not always the case that just because they S up their neck that they're in a striking position. So those are very important body language tails or, signs, and the tongue flicking. Just the relaxed demeanor with the head being rested on a vine. And we also attribute our HappyBasins, our relaxed and content demeanor of our emeralds to their habitats, because they are very secure. They have all of the climbing that they get to do. They get plenty of exercise. They get the freedom to choose. If they don't want to be handled, they can either hide their head or move, and we leave them alone. And sometimes it'll happen that they'll hide their head and I'll walk away, and they'll bring their heads back out. When I come back the second time, they don't hide their head. It was almost like, oh, I hit it from instinct, but I didn't mean to. So many different body language things. I know there's probably more that I'm not thinking of right now. So if you guys think of any good body language for these animals, to be able to tell if they're defensive. Also, they make noise. You can hear them huff and puff. Okay, when we do this, you'll have to come around that side of the table. Okay. All right, so you guys, Ron Rundo, who is the artist who carved this beautiful tree right here. Ron Rundo, the sculptor of here, is a fabulous painter. Ron Rundo, R-U-N-D-O. And you can look up on his website. He does some fabulous, beautiful art. But look, you guys. Oh, we need to take a picture of this. That's baby Peo he painted right there with Isis. And look at the baby right in his own little image. Is that cute or what? That is just precious. Baby Peo in his own little portrait. That was really sweet. All right, back to the notes. A couple of the other things for handling, like I said, in my experience, it's important to open the doors often. Anytime you're working in your snake room and you're paying close attention, like what we do, I just open the doors. And as I'm doing things in here, I might reach in and pet them. Or when I change their water bowls, I give them a little massage. Anytime I'm near them, I try to touch them. And that was to get to normalize my presence. And that has developed over these years to what we have going on right now. Erica says that boas are almost always in S shape. A big tell, if they're going to bite, is they'll raise their head up and back. So instead of just like Peyo's in an S shape right now. But if they're going to strike, then you would see them lift that upper part of their body and pull back so that they can prepare for the strike. So not all snakes do that, but these snakes do. Of course, we have Serapi upstairs, and she could look perfectly normal, and next thing you know, she's trying to eat you. But not because she's mean. She just likes to taste test everything. Let's keep going. Oh, yes, and the mouth open and hissing. That is definitely a telltale sign that they do not want to be handled. And like with these animals, I've never heard like hissing like that sounded like a S sound. Mostly what I hear is more like, oh, one time Allison and I were lost in the dark woods here in Arkansas, alligator hunting, and we'd seen over 20 alligators that day, huge ones and babies. And we got too excited when we found the babies, and we were out there way too long. And there was a huge buck rutting out there, and he kept doing that noise. And it sounded like the snakes, but bigger and much more scary. A boa growl. Erica says it's a boa growl. Well, that's exactly what it sounds like. Another takeaway from the handling tonight is that we feel it's important to interact with these animals when they're awake. When they are hungry, that's the best time. These guys all ate about 10 days ago, except Peyo, it's been about 2 weeks. And I could take them out and handle them right now, but usually we do our handling after they've been in the rain chamber. So usually 3 weeks after they've eaten, we'll put them in the rain chamber, and they use the chamber pot like clockwork. You guys have seen that multiple times. And then we handle them a lot, and then we feed them. So we try to always handle them really good before we feed them. So that way it feels like they're getting a little reward, and they don't mind getting held. And you can even see, like after we do an ambassador session, when I have people over here and they are holding all the snakes, after the people leave, all of these snakes are literally hanging at the door waiting because they know they're going to get food. And we just open the doors and we turn their little oven on. They have a little toaster oven down here because we feed them frozen, defrosted, heated meals. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? That's what Larry's over there singing. And once we put those rats in the oven, these snakes just are like scoped out their doors, eagerly waiting. So they have a routine. That's another thing about Jaja, is that she is extremely habitual. That little lizard has habits that she does not break. It is very rare that she breaks a habit. And these emeralds are the same way. And what becomes normal to them is what they expect. So it is very easy to teach them habits, we have found. All right, ambassador. Let me just tell you real quick how this whole ambassador thing happened with the emeralds. We started letting other people hold the emeralds. Of course, at first, we were holding our emeralds and keeping it a secret. Because as I've mentioned many times, I had a picture of Isis and I just standing looking out the window, and I posted it and got a lot of negative comments about the fact that these animals are not to be held, they're just to look at. So I was handling Zaltis and Isis and Azzy in secret. And, you know, really, it wasn't until I started going to the jungle and finding them in the wild, and I made friends with Igor, who taught me so much, and other people who were teaching me things, I started to feel more confident, and my skin got a little thicker because my confidence was growing. And I didn't mind posting us handling the emeralds. And when I got the ugly feedback, I was able to just say, I know it's hard to understand. I hope you can come one day and see what it's really like here at these animals. And then I started letting other people hold them little by little, a person at a time. And then we saw how the animals interacted, like just really curious, wanted to look at people's faces. I have a theory that they're fascinated with faces because of the way they come out and just look at my face. And they do that to other people. Zaltis is extremely friendly. He knows what a neck is. He gets on the neck and he just puts his head on the shoulder and just watches everything. And then Gishsada doesn't like to go back in. When we have an ambassador session and then Gishsada is getting held, when it's time to get off the people, he wags his tail. He does not want to get off the people. So we do have signs that these animals are interacting with us in an enjoyable, what I perceive as them getting enjoyment from it. Danita, I mentioned you earlier when someone was saying what a great reptile hottie, perfect reptile dad husband Larry is. I said if Danita was here, she would be telling us that don't forget that he's also a dad to Hansel, who's the hamster upstairs. If you guys don't know who Hansel is, a whole nother story behind that one. So yes, we believe that these animals actually get enjoyment. This little tiny snake right here is not stressed out. This little baby is just curious. He just wants to look around, and he's always very curious. He really wants to get on those vines up there. So that just goes to show that they're born with it. The wild emeralds, like I told you guys, the first 2 wild emeralds I ever had, I did grab them by the head and held it very tight because that's what I was told to do. I was not experienced at that time. I started going to the jungle, finding these guys in the wild when I didn't even know if the green snake I found in the jungle was an boa or a python. That was a big joke. But yes, I was just learning, and now I handle all of those wild emeralds, and I never ever held them, manhandle them. I never touch their head. I never force them to stay on me. I use my hands and I treadmill them so that their bodies are constantly moving naturally. I never hold them ever. And I just keep rubbing their bellies and doing the spine massage, and the animals settle down to the point where I can have them right in my face. If you've seen, I have many, many videos of that out there. So the wild emeralds, all of this handling that's not what it's from, because it can't be, because if I'm doing this in the wild with an animal in 20 minutes and handling it just like I handle these, then that just goes to show that I'm not taming these animals. All I'm doing is showing them that they can trust me. And it's the same thing with the wild ones. So I really, really, really think that these emeralds have such a bad reputation for biting and stuff. And I just think, it's hard for me to say because I don't want to, be haughty or anything, but I just believe that when these animals have 2 perches that are too big for their tails to wrap tight around, and sometimes smooth so the animal falls around on it like a PVC pipe inside of an enclosure with no stimulation whatsoever but white walls and maybe a curtain rod. That's actually a common way that many keepers keep these animals. So they may have a bad reputation because that would be very scary to feel so insecure about your surroundings. So it's possible that that's another reason that the wild ones are so tame like these, because they're already in their secure natural environment. I do not think it's me. I don't think I have a magic touch with these animals. I just think that whatever happened, I figured out how to touch them in ways that they like, and it works. So I believe anybody can handle these animals like this, even straight out of the wild, if you just do it. If you just do what I say. Just kidding. Yes, Danita says yes, also a Hansel dad. A green tree boa. Tara calls them a green tree boa, which they are, but the green tree python is really what a green tree python is called. And green tree emeralds and green tree pythons are often mistaken for each other. But they're different in a lot of ways, but similar in a lot of ways. Well, you guys, if you have any more questions, speak up now, because hi, Monica Olson and Shay Sickles. Hello, thank you guys all for being here. When it says on my Facebook that someone's here, I don't know if that means they're like here the whole time it says you're here, or if it stops saying when someone's here. So, oh wow, there are so many people. You guys are amazing for coming on here to watch us. And Curtis Powell, we still don't know if you're Larry's brother or the other Curtis Powell on my Facebook. You guys, thank you so much for coming. And oh, one last thing I forgot was I wanted to say why these emerald tree boas are perfect pets for us. These pets require a nice investment in the beginning of keeping them, with your humidity and enclosures and heat and electronics. But once all of that's set up, you could literally walk away from these animals for months and they wouldn't even know you were gone. And they're really simple once you get their habitats dialed in. And for us, they're perfect because, you know, we can do the things we want to do and have somebody watch our house, but they don't have to do a lot of work with the emeralds. They're very, very simple to care for once they're set up properly. And we'll talk about that in a future episode, to set things up. What does that mean? What does it look like? What equipment do we use? We'll cover all of that. We have an episode every week, except the last thing I want to tell you is no episodes, no live streams in the next 2 weeks, because I am going to be in Brazil searching for wild emeralds. I'm super excited about this trip, and I can't wait to share everything with you guys. And like I said before, if I get an opportunity to go live while I'm out there, I'll give it a try. Sometimes you just never know where a random tower is going to be on the river, and you might get a signal in the most surprising place. And you have to always keep your phone off silent, so that when you do hit a spot, you start hearing ding, 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 all the messages coming through. And you know you have a signal. And then sometimes you have to back up, go back to a spot and find it. So you might have a signal good enough to send a message, but not do a live video. But I'm going to work on that, and I'll bring you guys back tons of videos and pictures and interviews and all kinds of cool stuff. So I know you're going to miss me for 2 weeks, but I'll be back with all kinds of great stuff to share with you guys. And don't forget that on Tuesday or Thursday, what's today? Today's Monday. So on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, I am going to have all of my jungle gear laid out all over my living room floor, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I take to the jungle. This is my 10th trip to the Amazon rainforest to go find emeralds. So I really honed in what stuff I really need. We had 2 people here tonight on Amaka who really benefited from my overpacking. Everybody benefited from my overpacking on my first trip to the jungle. Larry was joking, saying that I was going to need elephants to carry my gear in, because I brought as much stuff as I was allowed to take on the airplane. And that, you know, it was really fun. But now I've honed it down to where I just need, you know, just my backpack and one other small backpack. And you really have to have minimal stuff out there, the way I travel, because I don't stay at a camp. We're just constantly traveling, sleeping in hammocks, living on our boat and on the shore. So you really have to have a very minimal amount of stuff. So Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'll show you guys everything I take, what I use it for, what I wish I could take that I don't take anymore, and stuff I take every time that I've never used before. But if I ever need it, I am going to be very happy that I have it. So you guys tune in on Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time for that really neat episode. And until then, Danita, I will definitely stay in touch while I'm away. And Janine Surf, one more thing. I always have such a hard time signing off, but I just want to say something about Janine Surf. That is Allison's mother. She is not into snakes. She doesn't particularly love snakes or anything like that whatsoever. But she says that if she has the opportunity to come back in another life and be one of our pet snakes, that she will take that opportunity. So that was a huge compliment coming from someone who's not into snakes, would like to just come and live in our little magical room here. So thank you, Janine. And thank all of you guys for being here. I super love and appreciate all of you. Have a fabulous night. I'm going to come over here and put Peo close to the camera while Larry signs us off.
Please hit that like and subscribe button so HappyBasins can continue to improve.
Yes, you guys, thank you for those of you who hit like and subscribe on YouTube and like on Facebook. We really appreciate the love. Feels good. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. That sweet baby Peo. Poseidon, Aphrodite, Osiris.